Yeah. He's the sane one.
You're in trouble.
Yeah.
Good evening. I'd like to call the October 20th, 2015 Poquoson City School Board meeting to order. Drew?
Jamie Tigerwald will lead us in the pledge. Jamie is a 7th grader at Poquoson Middle School. She plays volleyball and basketball and is actively involved in SCA and Girl Scouts. Her goals while attending high school is to be involved in National Honor Society and to maintain an A average.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jamie. Joseph L. Shanti will provide the inspirational reading for tonight. Joseph is an 8th grader at Poquoson Middle School. His hobbies are to fish with his grandfather, computer gaming, and jet skiing. He likes to play soccer, running, and sailing. An interesting fact about Joey is he programmed a server to create a game that generated revenue.
Promise to Keep by William Arthur Word. This is just a short poem, and you'd think I could easily remember it and apply it consistently, yet it is truly an effort to do so, and falling short of it is common for me. But what would I be like if I didn't even try? I don't want to know. I will do more than belong. I will participate. I will do more than care. I will help. I will do more than believe. I will practice. I will do more than forgive. I will forget. I will do more than teach. I will inspire. I will do more than dream. I will work. I will do more than give. I will serve. I will do more than earn. I will enrich. I will do more than live. I will grow. I will do more than be fair. I will be kind. I will do more than be a citizen. I will be a patriot. I will do more than be friendly. I will be a friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie and Joseph. Students from Poquoson Middle School will be doing a presentation tonight on the use of Google Docs. Students from Mrs. Biddle's Keyboarding and Digital Input Technology class are Ethan Grondin, Grant Gardner, and students from Mrs. Harris English Honors class are Joey L. Shanti, Emma Forrest, Jamie Steigerwald, and Bailey Green. And students, right afterwards, we're going to take we'll have a little bit of business. We're going to take a brief break, and we'd like to come out and visit with you. So after your presentation, please don't run off because we do want to talk to you for a few minutes. Okay. Welcome.
In Ms. Biddle's keyboarding class, we have been introduced to Google Drive. We are using Google Docs and slides in classroom. In Google Docs, we can write papers and share them with everybody else in class. In Google Slides, we can create a PowerPoint, share with our classmates, and even work on them at the same time. I like that you can change the background and word colors on each slide. Each member of the group can choose their own color combinations. We are going to demonstrate this for you today. In Google Classroom, we can see assignments when they are due and work on them and submit them to Ms. Biddle. And never use a paper and pencil. Ms. Biddle's Google Classroom is on the screen now. We are going to demonstrate how we use it. Something I like about Google Drive is that when you are working on anything, an assignment, a slide, or in classroom, you don't have to remember to save it. It automatically saves for you. Also, if I start a paper project in class, I can log into Google Drive at home and work on it very easily. I don't have to save a thumb drive and carry that back and forth. Now, Grant and I are going to work on an assignment in Google Classroom, creating a Google slide, presenting, sharing a little information about ourselves. You'll see how easy this process is.
Hi, I'm Emma, a 7th grade representative from Miss Harris's English class, and this presentation will be about how we use Google Apps. Google Apps allows us to work from home, school, or anywhere an internet connection is available. We can also use tablets and smartphones to complete work. Google Apps allows us that we do not have to carry thumb drives because all work is continuously saved in our personal Google Drives. Google Apps allows us to work collaboratively with our classmates and teachers on assignments. We can share files and folders and even work on a single document at the same time. A main way we can communicate with our teacher and classmates is Google Docs, and we have weekly homework assignments, which are online discussions that are due Thursdays and online readings that are due Fridays. Classwork assignments that we have recently done would be Pass the Story and Literary Circles. This is an example of what our Google Stream would look like. To the left, you can see the assignments that will be due, and in the center, if you were to keep scrolling down, you would see those assignments in a larger form. This is an example of what our discussion homework would look like. At the bottom, you would insert your comment. To the left is the reading that you would read before you would insert your comment, state on your opinion after reading the reading, and we would state our comment according to the appeal paragraphs or point evidence, explanation, and link. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Joey Elshanti, and I'll talk to you guys about weekly reading homework assignments we have using Google Classroom. One major reading homework we have is Think Circa. Google Classroom allows us to get to Think Circa really easily by not having to look it up through Google, but just having to click a link. Once we click the link, we can log in. When we log in, we are prompted with a story or a passage or an article. In the passage or article, there are bold words that are hard to understand or words we've never seen before. In the left side of the screen, there are two tabs, vocabulary and text. In the vocabulary tab, it gives us the definition of the bolded words. Once we are done looking over the vocabulary, we can go back to the text. And if any point in the text we need to go back, we can go back to the vocabulary and look at the words. We can read or listen to the text by clicking on the top bar up there by clicking the audio, or we can just read it. Once we're done reading or listening to the text, we can look at the visual, or look at the visual if the reading tells us to. The visuals can be neat and handy. They can be a graph or they can just be a picture. They are normally followed by a caption or just a few words to describe what it is. After we read, there are 5 multiple choice questions we answer. They are used to assess our understanding and are similar to SOL-based questions. We can choose our answer A, B, C, or D, and once we feel confident in our answers, we can submit them, and right after that, it instantly gives us our score. I love that about Think Circa.
Hi, I'm Jamie Steirold, and today I will be giving you an example of our classwork that we do using Google. So one example of the classwork that we do is Pass the Story. For the Pass the Story, first we had to review the 5 parts of plot. First, we reviewed the exposition, which is basically the beginning of the story. Then we included an inciting incident with our exposition, which is basically the big thing that's going to happen before the rising action. Then we had a rising action, and another person wrote that, and then climax, falling action, and resolution. So first what we did was each student opened a new Google Docs file. Then we each selected one of 3 creative story starters, which, for example, one was, I never thought I would see who was behind me. Ms. Harris gave us 4 minutes to begin writing the exposition of our story. After 4 minutes, I shared my story with another classmate by clicking this share button here. It was very easy to complete this process. The next 4 minutes, that classmate wrote the rising action portion of my story while I did the same to theirs. 2 different classmates added the climax and falling action to my story. I opened my Google Docs file and read how my original plot starter changed and progressed. During the final 4 minutes of the rotation, I added the resolution to my story. I enjoyed this activity because we were able to work on other classmates' stories. And this is the example of what a final Pass the Story would look like, and this is mine, so.
Hi, I'm Bailey Green. I'll be talking to you about literary circles for a book called The Outsiders, written by A.C. Hinton. Our weekly assignments include reading 2 chapters individually and analyzing those chapters together in a lit circle. Lit circles have 5 to 6 students for 5 to 6 roles. Each week I have a different role. Roles include the definer, who defines a set of words and puts them into sentences. The recorder is the team leader who asks the group questions and the group answers the questions. The terminator tries to find hints in the 2 chapters of foreshadowing. The summarizer summarizes the 2 chapters in a paragraph. The illustrator illustrates an important part in the chapters, and the questioner makes questions that are not answered in the book. Job descriptions can change weekly to align our assigned chapters. We can now repeat a role, and this is a completed, some jobs in a literary circle. We use shared folders in our Google Drives to compose, maintain, and collaborate our work. Last week, this is my group, and I was the illustrator. Using shared folders allows us to easily collaborate, help group members continue to work even if a group member is absent, and organize our materials. Here, another example of finished literary circles. The first one is the definer. The second one is the illustrator. The third one is the recorder. The fourth one is the questioner. The fifth one is the summarizer. And the last one is the terminator. And that's it.
Thank you guys very much.
I've got one more.
I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. One more because I just have to get out of this one. Here we go. Okay. I'm Carmen Bettel, and I have the keyboarding class with the boys. Kind of put them on the spot today to come in and sit down and do a slide to in Google Slides while they're sitting right here working for you. So are you guys about at the end? Can you? What we use this for a lot is I gave some group assignments where each member they had to read an article and respond to different sections so they could sit down. They can all work on one, I'll call it a PowerPoint because we're more familiar with that term, at the same time. They're each working on a different slide in that one program. Okay, guys, are you good? Can I show them what you've done?
Yep. Wait.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm done.
So just an opening screen, and then here's one of the boys, what I like to do. Got some pictures in there. And there's Ethan's. So that just gives you a little look at how we're using Google Docs in the classroom. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. I just realized that these young people have never lived in a world without Google. When I was in school, Googling is what I did when I looked at the other girls. Dr. Parrish, do we have any additions or modifications to the agenda?
We do not this evening.
Well, let's recognize some folks.
That sounds wonderful. While Mr. Cass moves over to the podium, we're going to start our recognition tonight with our National Merit Commended students. National Merit Scholarship Corporation recognizes certain students for their high scores on the PSAT National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test. outstanding achievement, and exceptional academic promise. A selected number of students who achieved the top scores in the state are named semifinalists, and those who achieved just slightly lower scores are named commended students. I'm excited to tell you that Poquoson High School has 5 commended students, and we have 4 of those with us this evening. So if Hamilton Payne would come forward first. Hamilton is a PHS senior who is president of the Spanish Honor Society and received the highest score in the state for the National Spanish Exam Level 6. He plays the clarinet and is currently a section leader in the Islander Marching Band as well as his church's orchestra. Hamilton is an AP Scholar with distinction and a member of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, Spanish Club, and Mu Alpha Theta. He volunteers for the Vacation Bible School and helps less fortunate families in various work projects. In college, Hamilton plans to study engineering and possibly minor in Spanish. Please join me in congratulating Hamilton for being a commended scholar. Would Catherine Weilecker come forward, please? Catherine is a senior at PHS and has been in Model United Nations since 8th grade. She is currently the vice president of the Leo Club and previously volunteered for Hanscom Air Force Base Spouses Club. She's lived in 8 houses and visited over 20 countries. She is the foreign exchange student liaison for Student to Student and the varsity co-captain for the Academic Challenge. Catherine studies German and Latin and plans to study international relations at William & Mary or American University in Washington, D.C. She wants to be a foreign service officer for the State Department. Please join me in congratulating Catherine for being a commended scholar. Samuel Washburn. Sam is a senior at PHS who attends the Governor School for Science and Technology. He also plays on the Poquoson High School tennis team and is involved in a mentorship at NASA Langley studying atmospheric engineering. He plans to attend Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, or UVA to study engineering. Please join me in congratulating Samuel on being a commended scholar. Brian Van Rosendale, please come forward. Brian is also a senior at our high school, and he attends the Governor School for Science and Technology. He is on the tennis team and enjoys programming in his free time. Brian plans to study computer science in college, and while he is not sure where he wants to go to college, he will be applying to Virginia Tech and the University of Virginia. Please join me in congratulating Brian on being selected a commended that everybody knows, McCallum Cruff is also recognized for doing so, and we'll see if we can bring McCallum to our next meeting. But please join me once again in congratulating all these students. You can see gentlemen, we have our division paparazzi, so you just have to bear with us. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies. This month, we're actually starting a new recognition that we haven't done here before at school board meetings, and I'm excited that we're starting this. As all of you in the room know, we have many people from our community, whether it's our parents or community members or others who provide so much support to our schools. And so we thought it important that we recognize some of these folks at our school board meetings. It'll be a challenge to recognize everyone, obviously, but as we continue to do this throughout the years, hopefully we will catch many of you. So this is our inaugural recognition of the Volunteer of the Month. And so our first awardee today is Jennifer Mosteller, and she is here with her husband Hal and daughter Haley. So Jennifer, you please come forward. Let me tell you a little bit about Jennifer. She's currently the president of the Poquoson Middle School PTO. She has served as the middle school PTO president since 2013. During this time, she's increased the PTO membership and involvement. Jennifer Mosteller is the first to volunteer for the Poquoson Middle School PTO. She helps out in the office, she provides assistance at school dances, and keeps the PTO active in helping to serve students and teachers. Not only has she volunteered her time at our middle school, but she's also served as a volunteer in our primary school and our elementary school, and I suspect when her children reach the high school, she'll do so there as well. She also is very active in our community, working for other organizations that are not affiliated with our schools. At the Poquoson Primary School, she served on the PTO as the Farm Fresh Coordinator, the Ways and Means Coordinator. She was president of the primary school PTO. She coordinated the Box Top Drive. She was in charge of teacher hospitality and also served as the vice president in the 2014-2015 school year. At the Poquoson Elementary School, she's also assisted the PTO. She's been the Fitness Fest Coordinator, the Art in a Suitcase Coordinator, and she currently this year, on top of being the president of the middle school PTO, is also the secretary of the elementary school PTO. So we're lucky that we could get Jennifer here tonight to recognize her, because I'm sure she's missing a meeting either at one of our schools or one of our community activities, but I can't thank you enough for what you do for our schools. You are a wonderful representative of what our community does, and I also want to thank your family members, because you give up a lot of time with her for her to be helping our schools, and I thank you for that. Please join me in congratulating Jennifer. Well, this is an evening of firsts, because we're also starting a new recognition that we haven't done previously at our school board meetings. We are now going to begin to recognize the Senior of the Month. So this is a senior at our high school who's been selected to be recognized. This individual is also recognized by the Exchange Club as the Student of the Month. I think what's wonderful is our first recipient of this was actually our school board student representative last year. So we have with us this evening, and I ask her and her parents to come forward, Sophie McDevitt and Dennis and Jamie McDevitt. Sophie is the October Senior Student of the Month. She's a strong leader at the high school because of her ability to be compassionate, creative, fun, and fair. She has been an SCA officer since 9th grade and is now president of the senior class. She is also president of the Student-to-Student Mentoring Program this year. She is captain of the girls' varsity basketball team and goalie for the varsity lacrosse team. Last year, she was the student director of the one-act play for competition drama and co-director of the spring musical, The Fantastics. She is copy editor of the PHS yearbook and has written for the school newspaper for the past 3 years, covering high school sporting events. She was also, as I mentioned, the school board student representative last year. After graduation, she plans to major in social work. Please join me in congratulating our first ever school board Senior of the Month, Sophie McDevitt. I must say that because Sophie served on the school board, I've gotten to know her, and everything that I've said is true. You are just a wonderful model student for us, and I'm so thrilled that we were able to recognize you. And like Ms. Mosteller, we're probably lucky we could get you here too with your list of activities. So thank you. I also, this evening, we want to recognize an award that our high school and some of the teachers at our high school have received, and this is the WISE Financial Literacy Certification Recognition. What I'd like to do is ask that our principal, Mr. Ratliff, come forward, as well as our 4 teachers, Michelle Henderson, Marcus Nieves, Michael Smith, and Irene Winchester, before I... As part of our economics and personal finance program at the high school, our students take the WISE Financial Literacy Certification Test. It is my pleasure to announce that Poquoson High School received the Blue Star designation from WISE for the 2014-2015 academic year. A school testing more than 10 students must have achieved a 75% passing rate on the financial literacy certification test and have either a majority of students on a given grade level take the test or have the students who took it achieve an average score of 85% or higher. This is no small feat. Once again, congratulations go to our high school students and staff for an outstanding achievement and a sincere thank you for the tremendous hard work that you've done to improve the financial literacy of our community's young people. Additionally, we're recognizing our 4 teachers this evening because they received the 2014-2015 Gold Star Award from WISE. To be considered for the Gold Star Award, a teacher must achieve a 90% pass rate in at least one of their classes on the WISE Financial Literacy Certification Test. All 4 of our economics and personal finance teachers achieved this impressive goal and are awarded the Gold Star Award. So please join me in congratulating our teachers for the success that their students had on the WISE test. And certainly I know our community appreciates the fact that our students are clearly financially literate. So please join me in congratulating them. Thank you.
I think everyone here's been recognized. Okay, we are going to take a short break and visit with you for just a few minutes. So we'll reconvene in just a few minutes. Vice President of Education, for their report tonight. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Chairman Cass, Dr. Parrish, members of the board. My name is Bert Schmidt, President and CEO of WHRO, and Brian Callahan, my Vice President of Education, is with me, so if you ask any hard questions, I've got backup. We have provided you a hard copy of your annual impact statement. I feel like I should be using Google Docs now, so I feel bad about that. But as you know, I come to you every other year, but you get this report every year from the station. As you know, you are one of 19 school divisions that actually own WHRO. It's a unique situation, in fact, that we're the only broadcaster in the entire country owned by collaboration of 19 public school divisions, founded back in 1961 by 2 school divisions, now owned by 19. So I want to just spend a couple minutes, go through the report very briefly, and just let you know where things stand and the services that you've been using. And I start on that first page 1 of 28, which simply identifies some of the leadership from the division. Last year, Robin Sidner was your rep, and now Mr. Melton has joined us and just went through his orientation just last week, I guess that was. So we're looking forward to working with you this year. Of course, Dr. Parrish has been around for quite a while now, one of the old guard now, and is vice chair this year of our superintendent's board, and next year she'll be chairing that board. So looking forward to that. Other folks, Dr. Cataldo, we've worked with for a long time on our Technology Advisory Committee, and Joe Miglio, I think I said that right, has worked with us for a very long time. In fact, helped us design our eMedia VA product. Moving on to the second page, speaking of that eMedia VA product, eMedia VA is an online education repository of learning objects. It's something that the schools asked us to create a number of years ago. It, in effect, can replace the Discovery Education product. It is free, you own it. Today we have about over 110,000 learning objects in the system. We have partnerships in the national level with folks like Smithsonian, National Archives, Library of Congress, NASA, but also local partnerships with folks like Colonial Williamsburg and the various colleges and nonprofits and museums, et cetera. So there's a lot of great Virginia content in there as well. And the fact that you own the system means anytime you need more content in the system, you call us up and we put more in. So it's a great system. I'm going to jump a little bit to page 4, our student services, which is a big area for you. As you all know, children, the kids who are juniors now are required to take an online course to graduate high school. Back in the day, many years ago, you asked us to create online courses for you, which we have done. You can see that first paragraph lists those courses that we have made and given to you. Those include algebra, trig, astronomy, biology, earth science, economics and personal finance, English 9, 10, 11, and 12, geometry, health and PE 9 and 10, oceanography, physics, U.S. history, U.S. and Virginia government, world geography, world history 1 and 2, as well as last year we delivered 2 new courses, math analysis and chemistry. And this year we will be also adding French and psychology. So we make them, we give them to you, and you use them however you so decide based on your own local school policies. But it saves you, of course, a lot of money either working with the commercial vendors, which can be very expensive, or trying to create your own courses. I should mention, going a little off script for a moment, we will be providing to you what we call a module, kind of a chapter of a course later on this month on digital citizenship. And I will tell you, it resulted from a conversation that Dr. Parrish and I had in our parking lot a few years back, where she was saying how she wanted something that the teachers could use to help children understand how to be safe and appropriate on the internet. So we've developed that course. We are releasing it literally before the month's out. And I want to thank Dr. Parrish for really kickstarting that. It really got us into a whole new business of workforce development and a new whole area. Also, you may be familiar with Virtual Virginia. That's the state's program for advanced placement in world languages. WHRO has operated that system from day one. 28 of your students took courses last year. I will tell you, this year started a new pilot. Virtual Virginia has leased from WHRO 13 of our core curriculum courses. So there is a pilot. About 100 students around the state are taking a full-time online program. So it's advanced placement, world language, as well as core curriculum now. And that will certainly open up more and be more available throughout the state in years coming up. On page 5, some of the additional resources we provide to you. Item number 3, the spelling bee of the Poquoson Middle School was well represented last year in the spelling bee, and again, I expect a good speller coming out of that school. We'll all celebrate that. And then number 4, the Great Computer Challenge. Poquoson really represents very well. You can see, it goes on to the next page, all the teams you've had, and frankly, you get a lot of trophies for Poquoson. Your teams do really well, really outstanding performance in the Great Computer Challenge. Not to embarrass her, but item number 6, our Education Now spots. If you watch WHRO at all, you've seen Dr. Parrish for many years on our air talking about your sports marketing and CTE course. It's probably about time we get you and update you with a new topic, because you've been on my air for a very long time saying the same thing over and over again. So
I'd be happy to do so.
We'll come out this year and make that happen. So start thinking about the next best practice you want to show off for the rest of the region. And finally, as board members, you care about, one more thing. I just want to highlight for you, you're not using them right now, but on page 8 and 9, our family and early learner services. This is pre-K and elementary services. I'm not going to go through all the details. You see there's 2 pages, lots of services. The point is here, it's not going to cost you any more, and there are services we can be providing to, again, pretty much pre-K to 5, 5th grade. And just call us, and we're happy to bring our folks out and work with your teams involved in from elementary down. There's a whole list there you can read. I don't need to read it for you, but they're there for you as an owner. You get them for free, so it doesn't cost you any more. Page 10, as board members, what you really care about is the bottom line. You can see your investment, less than $8,000 in WHRO returns the investment of over $470,000. That's a ROI of 60 to 1. We do hope you like that return on your investment. And with that, I'll take any questions you may have.
Any questions?
No, but a comment. I enjoyed my orientation last week, and Brian did a great job of showing us around the station and answering many of the questions that educators would have. And I certainly appreciate you folks taking out your time to do that.
Well, we look forward to working with you.
I do have one
Oh,
question.
sure,
I don't
sure.
mean this to be a hard question at all, but
it's
how do
okay.
you derive these values?
There are all the pages in the back that I didn't go through. We footnote and go through for each line in very deep. And actually, what we also do, we'll sit down with the superintendents each year and say, hey, does this report feel right? And so there's a lot of detail behind it. And Brian and his team do it all, but there's a lot of work behind those numbers.
That was just my attempt to get Brian involved in the presentation.
And I'll even speak. There's a page in there that actually goes through all of the calculations.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you.
If I
Yes.
could, go ahead.
Go ahead, no ma'am.
Well, I was just going to say, I wanted to thank Bert and Brian for the work that they do. They are very reactive to our requests, so I'm very much looking forward to the digital citizenship module that we'll get and be using with our students. But as we've talked about online coursework, they've been quick to help us in that area. So it is a support, and we talk about shared services a lot as we're looking at budget, and certainly this is a classic example of how school divisions through WHO are sharing quite a few services. So just to thank you for the work that you continue to do for our kids. But he never would give me, by the way, any insight on Downton Abbey. I just thought I would add that. I tried for that.
We can talk.
For the math analysis, and I believe, was there physics in there? Yeah, the physics for the online education courses. How are those assessments administered for those courses?
Well, Brian, go ahead.
No.
Actually, Brian, do me a favor and come up.
Come
to
on
the
up
mic.
here.
Yeah.
You actually,
He never gets to come up to the microphone. It's very good. I like it.
I gave the report one year even. We actually embed assessments in there, and we actually give test questions in a test bank, and your teachers determine how they're going to do that. So some are automatic within the course, but the end of course assessments and all those, clearly you do those proctored and those sorts of things. But throughout it, there are assessments built in. Some are automatic, and some the teachers administer any way they would like.
Okay.
And they can add their own test questions too to the system.
Okay.
Very flexible.
All right.
As a matter of fact, I think you all use, I hate to take a minute here, but I think you all use the economics and personal finance in a blended model, and I was glad to see all the awards, because I'd kind of like to think that maybe our course had a little bit to do with that, but they did. You actually use it a lot, the economics personal finance.
And that's how our students are getting their online, us being able to say they're experiencing an online course. So it's been very helpful.
And it's a blended approach.
Yes.
As you said, okay. Okay.
Thank you all very much for being here.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Bowen, can you come give us the financial update, please? And start with the positive.
Good evening, Chairman Cass, school board members, and Dr. Parrish. Budget season is just around the corner. This is the time of year where we start to hear little things that may be included or may not be included in the upcoming budget. But this year, not much information has come forward. So what I thought I would do this evening is share with you and the community some financial reporting that occurs. Financial reporting is very important because these are public funds, and the public needs to know that we are accountable for spending their dollars. Let me begin with the local level. Each month, the staff closes out the books and prepares a monthly financial report for the board. This is included in your packet for review and approval. This information is also posted on the division website. Additionally, staff prepares a quarterly version of the same report, which is also posted on the website. At the end of each fiscal year, staff prepares a final financial report, and this report is provided to city staff and is the basis of our annual independent financial audit. This audit process begins in late May and concludes in October. The auditors review all areas of operations to include our revenues and expenditures, payroll, procurement, fixed assets, federal grants, and of course our school activity funds. There is a statutory requirement for this audited report, also known as the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, to be submitted to the State Auditor of Public Accounts by November 30 of each year. And the auditors, I can tell you, are working on this report now, and they have not missed the deadline of November 30th. We will present this information, which is information from fiscal year 2015, to the board at the December meeting. In addition to the local reporting, there are a number of reports at the state level. The annual school financial report, this is a comprehensive report that requires staff to take our end-of-year financial report and put it into a format prescribed by the state. And this is done for a couple of reasons. First, there are 132 school divisions across the state, and not all school divisions use the same financial system. So with each financial system, reports are unique to that system. So in order to have some consistency and comparable data, the state has prescribed a standard format. In addition, this information that we provide is used by the state to re-benchmark K-12 education in future years. The state has 9 different categories of expenditures, and they are instruction, administration, attendance and health, technology, transportation, food service, operations, facilities, debt service, and contingencies. The last 2 categories, debt service and contingencies, we do not use. The city is responsible for issuing the debt on behalf of the school, and as such, they choose to pay that debt. Now, there are some school divisions where the localities, again, issue the debt, but they give the money to the school divisions to pay that debt. That's not the case in Poquoson. One of the 9 categories I mentioned was instruction. This is the largest category of expenditures. And just a side note, a couple of years ago, the state passed legislation establishing a benchmark for instructional spending. This came to be known as the 65% rule. And what this legislation said, in its watered-down version, it started as a requirement that school divisions had to spend at least 65% of their expenditures on instruction. This had since been watered down, and it became more of a strongly recommendation. School divisions that don't meet the 65% must explain why to the state and then provide a plan how to work towards that. The most recent instructional percentage for Poquoson City Schools, as of, and this was for 2014, was 71.38%. Included in the instructional category are general instruction, media, guidance services, office of the principal, gifted, and remedial instruction. Within these categories of instruction, there's also subcategories for elementary and secondary expenditures. And the state defines elementary ed as grades K through 7 and secondary as grades 8 through 12. For this one report, there are over 50 individual worksheets requiring some form of data entry. It takes staff about 3 weeks to prepare. And again, there's a statutory requirement with this report. We have to submit it by the 30th of September. Once this report is submitted, the reporting doesn't end there. A window opens for Mr. Pappas then to start working on his transportation report. Now, I enter transportation expenditures on the annual school report, but what Mr. Pappas does is then that opens his window and he starts entering more detailed information like number of buses, number of miles, number of students, special ed miles, regular ed miles. So more detailed information. In addition, we have two additional finance reports required on the heels of the annual school report, and these are the special ed set-aside report and the average teacher salary report. Now, this is just a snapshot of our fall reporting requirements. There are many more that are required throughout the year. But again, I wanted just to share with you this evening and highlight the level of financial reporting that occurs. And of course, with this reporting comes a high degree of accountability because all the reports mentioned are public documents and they go through some level of review, examination, or audit. And that concludes my report this evening.
Any questions or comments for Mr. Bowen?
You said that that was just a sampling and that there were many more reports to do. What else is there to report and to whom?
Well, there's just for finance, we have special ed reports that are due throughout the year. So there's a December 1 report that Dr. Feltman and her staff report. In the spring, I use that information to help prepare the special education grant application. And then we also have to do maintenance of effort reporting for our special ed grant. I'll talk a little bit more about that in the work session, but the special ed grant is a unique grant. We have to maintain what's called the maintenance of effort. And what that means is, all things consistent, if we have the same number of students in the program, we have to spend at least the same or more than what we this year than what we spent last year. So the fact that we have changing student population in the special ed program, we have to monitor that real closely because if you don't meet your special ed maintenance of effort, you have to pay the money back to the feds. This became a real problem for school division. Prior to 2008, nobody really knew what maintenance of effort was. It was there, but each year, we were giving raises to teachers, and so the increases to special ed were always occurring. But when we started going through these severe budget reductions, we were cutting everywhere, but we really couldn't touch special ed because of the maintenance of effort. So we do a lot of that maintenance of effort and special ed reporting in the spring and early summer.
So the one report right there, you said it was 50 sheets of data. Is that user friendly? I mean, is it does one program talk to the other, or is it just?
It's a Excel workbook. I would say that it's not the easiest to use. I'm sure there's something better. The problem has been this funding to try and have a system. The state doesn't have the funding to provide a system, so this is kind of the best that we have. But there's what we do in this report. We're reporting our expenditures, and then we're breaking those out by elementary and secondary, and then we get to the admin attendance and we report those expenditures. And then there's specific sheets. We have to report specifically on technology and technology salaries. We report specifically on our nurses. We report specifically on our teachers. We report specifically on our principals and assistant principals and provide salary data. And all this information is, as I said, is needed because that's how the state uses this fund to fund school divisions.
How many people besides yourself work on this? How many people do you have supporting your financial reports that
there's three of us. There's three of us that work on this. We start it. Usually, the SOUPS memo comes out with the new instructions in early August. And the problem it is, even though it seems like we may have 2 months, the problem is that we have such a small staff at the school board office, we're also working on getting back to school, getting schools ready, getting teachers, new teachers added to the payroll system, getting benefits established, and those kinds of things. So although we have 2 months to do it, it's really just a lot of other stuff that's going on, including the auditors are in the midst of all this. So it takes 3 of us about 3 solid weeks. If we had put it in 3 solid weeks of time, that's what it would take.
Right. Well, yeah, especially when you're up at the high school collecting fees.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that's one of your other residual responsibilities. Okay, that just blows my mind, and I appreciate the feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bowman.
I actually
sorry.
want to, no, it's okay, I want to piggyback on what Mr. Bowman said. First of all, I think what you've noticed in terms of the workload is we do the same report that Fairfax County does. And I
Thinking the
imagine
same
they
thing.
have many
Yeah.
staff members, so while their dollar values in the
Right.
report are much higher, the work is exactly the
It's the same 50
So,
sheets.
a credit to our finance department for what they do with a very small staff.
And it's-
And that's true of all the reporting that we do for the
Yes.
state and the federal government. We all have to do the same reports. I wanted to mention the maintenance of effort because this week I was at our Superintendents Association conference, and we had somebody who came and spoke to us who tracks federal legislation. So the special ed maintenance of effort is a federal issue, not a state issue. And so there's a number of advocates who are trying to see if that can be changed because it has created an issue financially for school divisions. You actually are punished if you become more efficient and if you're working under that maintenance of effort. So there is some hope that as we move through the year, we might see some changes in those maintenance efforts requirement. I just wanted you aware of that because it might be something that you hear as things move through Congress in the coming months. Thank you.
Things move through Congress.
Thank you very much. Mr. Pappas, would you come share an operations update, please?
Good evening, Chairman Cast, School Board, Dr. Parrish. This evening, I'd like to share with you how things are progressing in the area of transportation, safety, and food service. And in the area of transportation, this week, we just completed our portion of the annual school report, which obviously takes the financial data and breaks it down into much more granular analysis. Pursuant to the DOE's instructions this week, we are now beginning the data collection for ridership counts for next year, and each bus driver every day has to diligently tally up the number of students who get on and or off the bus, both in the morning and in the afternoon. Those numbers will be the basis for some of our calculations next year. In the area of safety, PCPS schools participated in the October 15th Great Shakeout, which is an earthquake drill. And we've been doing that for the past several years. Also, in the immediate future, we will begin to provide morning and afternoon crossing guard services at the middle school crosswalk. Poquoson Police Department will be providing us with the necessary training for our guards. They will be adorned in the appropriate fluorescent yellow, the fluorescent waistband with the shoulder harness, white gloves, and the all-important stop sign. And we will, as soon as we get that training, we will be commencing that service. In the area of food service, in compliance with the federal government regulations for free and reduced benefit recipients, the benefits are extended from the previous year to this year for 30 school days. That automatic extension of benefits ceased on Monday, October 19th. So even if you didn't reapply, you would automatically be included for free and reduced lunch for the first 30 days of school. Now, while that automatic period has culminated, we encourage parents and guardians of students to apply at any time of the year. We're more than willing to accept applications. Additionally, federal regulations that we have to abide by governing the National School Lunch Program require that PCPS, food service staff, our staff, go through and do an audit of eligibility for those people who were on file as of October 1st. And that eligibility assessment started October 1st, and it culminates on December 15th this year. And that concludes our operations report.
Any questions or comments for Mr. Pappas?
The audit of eligibility, we have to conduct that and make sure that what's the financial information that's coming to us is accurate?
Correct. So the government has established some parameters of what they consider error-prone applications. And once we define the pool of error-prone applications, we then have to take a required random sample. We have to prove the randomness of that sample, and then we go through a process of eligibility verification.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dr. Colley, would you provide an instructional update for us, please?
Good evening, Chairman Cass, members of the board, and Dr. Parrish. I have several items for you this evening in my instructional update. First, let's look at the recently released graduation and dropout rates. As you can see, Poquoson continues to be above state average in its on-time graduation rate and well below in the dropout rate. Our on-time graduation rate this year was 94.8%. Compared to the state at 90.5%. And our dropout rate was 1% as compared to the state's at 5.2%. And as we've discussed before, we can't just add the two together and get 100% of our graduates because we also had 8 students go through and earn a GED through our ISAEP program. That's the Individual Student Alternative Education Plan, where students completed coursework, internships in the community, and got their GED as well. And those students are not counted either in graduation rate or dropout rate. Interestingly, as well, of our 94.8% of on-time graduates, 72.97% of those students earned the Advanced Studies Diploma in Poquoson. And in case you want to know, that 1% dropout rate does represent 1 student in Poquoson. Let me also share with you, since it's a little different this year, the timeline for the rest of the accountability reports this fall. Usually by now we've talked about state accreditation and federal accountability. That's going to be released on October 27th. So when we get together in November, we'll be able to update you on accreditation, ratings, accountability reports, and also at that time they're going to push out, on the 27th, they're going to push out our refresh of the school report cards, and all of that career and technical education data will be included in that. So I'll report out on those individual credentialing tests at that time. The accountability push does remind me of the English and math that we are working so diligently on in Poquoson School. So I thought that I would conclude my report this month by just giving you a heads up on what's going on in English and math in our schools. K-12 across the board, we had teachers this week attending the SOL Institute for English that was held right here in Newport News, and we had teachers across the board attending those sessions so that they could report back to their teams about what's changing at the state level and innovative instructional strategies. We are in our 5th year of our K-5 balanced literacy model. We're in our first year without grant funding, and so we're really looking at sustainability, and we're looking at now tweaking what we've already done. There's a focus on the writing workshop this year. We've been very fortunate to collaborate with some of our neighboring divisions who are working on literacy models with our writing workshop, and we have an ongoing focus on word study in both the primary school and the elementary school. Last Friday, our Poquoson Middle School and Poquoson High School department chairs in English were able to go with Dr. Cataldo to the Virginia English Language Arts Supervisors meeting and get all the updates and see what was coming ahead in English instruction across the state. So really trying to branch out, use our instructors to hear things across the state, and then come back and report and work with their departments. In mathematics instruction, many of you met Patricia Owens this evening. She is our new STEM instructional specialist, fully funded by our Department of Defense Education Activity Grant. She's joined us and is getting to know folks in Poquoson. Of course, both her students went through Poquoson schools, so it's not a hard transition to get to know us. From the primary school to the elementary school, one of their focal points this year is really working on transition in math, having conversations with teachers and looking at what students are doing as they move from the K2 to the 3-5 environment. We're also looking closely at the resources we're using. We have lots of information from the state, SOL test results, SOL frameworks, and just really looking at how we're using those, especially given that the math SOL will be changing in the near future, and we're looking at how we'll adapt and accommodate those changes. And as I mentioned last spring, we are using OnTrack, which is an online assessment aligned to the SOL and the standards we need to teach, and we're using that in 2nd grade through the 12th grade math courses in our schools. And I just draw your attention to the last 2 items. We're really working together, K-12, across the division, on planning and collaborating together as we look at some of the areas that need to be improved. And especially we're doing that in our special education department, where we already have some K-5 and some secondary meetings scheduled so folks can share and really target interventions and strategies to meet the needs of those students. And that's just a quick snapshot of what we're doing in English and math, but I'll take any questions if you have any.
Any questions for Dr. Colley?
If I could just add quickly, the date, I know I've shared this with you before, but for the sake of the community, you're seeing a much later release on the accreditation standings because of the fact that in this reform work that's going on in Richmond, both through the Board of Education and the General Assembly, they are actually changing some of those accreditation ratings. So the Board of Education is meeting this week and will do some final approval of those ratings, and will then be able to release the data along with the ratings, along with the new rating system. So we are very appreciative of the work that the Board of Education is doing on behalf of schools at the state, and looking at how they can more specifically identify how schools across the Commonwealth are doing. So you'll see more about that, I think, as those accreditation ratings come out, and that will likely occur before we come forward again, but we'll give you more details about that. But for the community members that are watching, you'll see some differences when it's released to the media in the coming weeks. Thank you.
Excuse me, thank you. Ms. Reimers, do we have any public comment tonight?
No, sir, we do not.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Melton, would you lead us through the consent agenda?
Really long tonight, folks. The approval of financial reports enclosed. B, approval of personnel action enclosed. And C, authorization to change appropriation in accordance with attached request, also enclosed.
Thank you very much. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Reimers.
Mr. Hux?
Aye.
Ms. Rollins?
Aye.
Dr. Carter?
Aye.
Mr. Holcomb?
Aye.
Mr. Melton?
Aye.
Chairman Cass.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay. Other matters tonight, consideration of approval of minutes of the September regular meeting work session. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? I wouldn't think so. Thank you, Ms. Reimers.
Mr. Hux?
Aye.
Ms. Rollins?
Aye.
Dr. Carter?
Abstain.
Mr. Holcomb?
Aye.
Mr. Melton?
Aye.
Chairman Cass.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-1 abstention.
Next matter, consideration of approval of certification of closed meeting, and the reading file is enclosed. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Ms. Reimers?
Mr. Hux?
Aye.
Ms. Rollins?
Aye.
Dr. Carter?
Aye.
Mr. Holcomb?
Aye.
Mr. Melton?
Aye.
Chairman Cast.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you very much. Tonight, we have some very important proclamations to consider and hopefully approve. The first one is School Psychologist Awareness Week, and because these are so important, I want you to bear with me as I share just a little bit of the proclamation. Whereas all children and youth can learn with the proper support and have the inalienable right to an education that meets their needs, and whereas schools provide an optimal context to promote resilience and good mental health in children because of the nature of the learning environment and the availability of trained, caring adults. And whereas school psychologists are specially trained to deliver a continuum of mental health services and academic support that promotes children's resilience, competence, and well-being within the school setting. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed on this 20th day of October in the year 2015 by the School Board of the City of Poquoson that the week of November 9th through the 13th be hereby celebrated as School Psychologist Awareness Week in all Poquoson City Public Schools. The second proclamation, American Education Week. Whereas public schools are the foundation of our democracy, providing our youth with an education and the 21st century skills necessary to be productive citizens as well as effective leaders. And whereas when students apply classroom lessons to real-world situations to meet community needs, they gain a deeper appreciation and understanding of their academic learning and achieve at higher levels, which is all our goal. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed on this 20th day of October in the year of 2015 by the School Board of Poquoson that the week of November 16th through the 20th be hereby celebrated as American Education Week in all Poquoson City schools. And last but certainly not least, School Bus Safety Week. Whereas public transportation helps hundreds of Poquoson's children arrive safely to and from school each day, whereas the highest standards of school bus safety are maintained through rigorous driver training and certification requirements, and whereas school bus transportation employees should be recognized for their steadfast commitment to safely transporting Poquoson's students. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed on this 20th day of October in the year 2015 by the School Board of Poquoson that October 19th through 23rd, 2015 is recognized as School Bus Safety Week in all Poquoson City public schools. A lot of wonderful people that were recognized and wonderful things that are happening in our school system. Do we have a motion to approve the proclamations?
So moved.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, Ms. Reimers?
Mr. Hucks?
Aye.
Ms. Rollins?
Aye.
Dr. Carter?
Aye.
Mr. Holcomb?
Aye.
Mr. Melton?
Aye.
Chairman Cast.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay. Can you lead us off?
Yes, I just want to let everybody know that last night we had the privilege of being with Lauren Osborne, who was the Regional Teacher of the Year for Region 2. So she, along with 7 other Regional Teachers of the Years, were recognized in Richmond, to include part of that recognition ceremony did occur at the governor's mansion. So the governor was there to recognize all 8 teachers, keeping in mind that she was one of 8 teachers selected for this recognition out of 100,000 teachers across the Commonwealth. So it really was an incredible honor. We are going to have Ms. Osborne come to your meeting in November, but I just wanted to mention what a special night it was, and Chairman Cass was there with us as well. So it was terrific. So if you see Lauren, please continue to congratulate her for us, and we'll all do it again in November. Also, as Mr. Bowen mentioned, we are starting to think about budgets, although we don't have any concrete numbers yet. But at the conference that I was at this week, we did have the governor speak, as well as several legislators from both sides of the aisle, and we continue to hear the language that K-12 funding is a priority. In the case of the governor, he is openly saying it's his #1 priority for funding. So we're certainly looking forward to see how that translates into the governor's budget in December, and then what will happen in the General Assembly. So likely as we move into November and December, we're going to start to have some news for you related to the budget. But it is the first time since I've been a superintendent that I've actually heard that K-12 funding would be the #1 priority. So it's certainly a much better message than what we've heard for the last 7 years. So those are my comments for this evening.
Thank you very much. Drew?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to just say that we should be very proud of our schools. We are very involved in everything. There is a copious amount of stuff tonight, so it might take a few minutes, but I'm very happy that I have to read this. Starting with the primary school, principal would like to thank everyone who attended back to school night, teachers, students, parents, everyone. It was a great success. Also at the primary school on October 13th, the Poquoson Primary School custodian, Miss Nikki Tolliver, was recognized by News Channel 3 with the People Taking Action Award. And it was awarded to her for her dedication and distinct honor for creating a very inviting learning environment for students. I remember her when I was back in primary school, and she was always a nice lady, had always a smile on her face, very nice to talk to. Last Thursday, CHKD visited the primary school and presented a program to the first graders to demonstrate to them what to expect in a medical setting, so a hospital setting, to help them maybe curb anxieties or fears of hospitals, doctors' offices, so that if or when they have to go, they will be able to be fearless. At the elementary school is participating in the Monarch Initiative, where staff and students were able to release 62 monarch butterflies, to the world. So 25 of them were tagged, and many students and teachers and everyone was involved, so I hear that one very well. Also, over 100 students are involved in after-school activities such as the K Club, SCA, Coding Club, all the other clubs there. And the primary school and the elementary school are looking forward to seeing parents and students at the annual Trunk or Treat hosted on October 29th. It's, I believe, a Thursday, from 6 to 7:30 in the PES parking lot. At the middle school, they are hosting a Spirit Week this week in honor of homecoming. Yesterday was Blackout Day. Today was Twin Day. Tomorrow is Favorite Character Day. Thursday will be Favorite Teams or Sports Jersey Day, and Friday will be Maroon and Gold Day. They are also hosting a Red Ribbon Week, which is the week of October 26th, so next week. And the PTO, they have activities and games for students to get them involved in alcohol, tobacco, drug awareness, so that they're able to fight back if they're ever offered or in a situation where they're met with those. Family night at the middle school book fair will be on Thursday, November 5th from 4 to 7. Everyone is invited. You do not have to be a student at the middle school. Anyone can go. Makeup day for fall pictures at the middle school will be held November 11th. Now at the high school. October 14th was test day for practically all high schoolers. 9th graders took a practice PSAT, 10th and 11th graders took a PSAT, and 12th graders took the ASVAB or worked on college applications and everything. Last week was our Bully Prevention Week, which kicked off our bullying program for the year. It was a very successful week. Our theme last week was Acts of Kindness. So on Monday the 12th, administrators covered tables in the Commons with maybe 1,000 sticky notes, all with different sayings, like nice things to say to people, like good morning or like you're awesome and everything. And by the end of the day, there were maybe 5 or 6 sticky notes left. So that means that some students took one, some took a couple more to give to others. On Tuesday last week, the 13th, there was a bullseye meeting which was held in every fourth period, where we spoke about common courtesy, respect, and we watched a video created by the beginning drama class which described our Golden Ticket project. On Wednesday the 14th, we ran PowerPoints on the screens at lunch with facts and statistics on bullying, teen suicide, etc. On Thursday the 15th, members of SCA passed out business cards at lunch. Now these business cards had the number and information about our new unanimous tip line for bullying. So if any students are being bullied or anything, they're able to call the hotline, and administrators they don't listen in on it. It's all voicemail, but they will then go back through and listen to it and maybe start an investigation into what will stop this. They do not plan to find the student who left the message. Their goal is just to solve problems. And then on Friday the 16th was our Golden Ticket Lottery. Now, the Golden Ticket Project was the program which we had come up with, which a student was given a golden ticket if a teacher or someone saw them do a above and beyond act of kindness. So it could be as simple as holding a door or helping someone pick up a bunch of books and papers. You would be given a golden ticket, and then that lunch period, you'd put it in an assigned golden box, and then that Friday, the 16th, we pulled 3 students from each lunch, and those 3 students got free ice cream. So.
All right.
Always a big hit.
Yes. PHS is also participating in homecoming activities this week. Yesterday was Poach the Panthers Day, where students dressed in Bruton colors. Today, Tuesday, was Cartoon Day, where students got to dress up as their favorite cartoon character. I did dress up, so...
Good to know.
Tomorrow, Wednesday, is Hall Theme Day, where students will dress up as their hall theme. Now, freshmen, their hall theme this year is hip-hop. Sophomores have country, juniors have disco, and seniors have rock. And I believe since the end of school till 8 o'clock tonight, they're decorating the halls, and again tomorrow from 2 to 8, they're decorating the halls as their theme. And then on Thursday, we will have a class color day where students will dress according to their class colors. Freshmen have the color green, sophomores have the color red, juniors blue, and seniors black. And finally on half day, or Friday, which is a half day, is our maroon and gold day, where people will wear maroon and gold unless you're a senior, where you get the privilege of wearing a toga to school.
Oh, wow.
All of the classes will compete at the pep rally to see which class was most spirited, and that class will be awarded something that says that they were most spirited, giving them bragging rights for the rest of the year. Later in the afternoon, there will be a homecoming parade held through Poquoson, and then finally at 7 will be kickoff of our homecoming game against Bruton. Lastly, our homecoming dance will be held on Saturday from 7 to 10 in the evening in the high school cafeteria. Go Poquoson. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Drew, great report. I have to ask, what did you dress up as?
I was Linus from Charlie Brown.
Do you have pictures?
Yes.
Mr. Hucks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Congratulations go to our Poquoson Primary School custodian, Miss Nikki Tolliver Robinson, as Drew had previously mentioned, for receiving a certificate of appreciation for people taking action from News Channel 3. So congratulations to Ms. Tolliver Robinson. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Rollins?
No comment.
Dr. Carter?
Congratulations again to Ms. Osborne for Teacher of the Year, and I'm glad that that event went well. And also, I'm glad we're getting some crossing guards at the middle school. Probably help. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Holcomb? No comment tonight. Mr. Melton?
Oh, as always, I enjoyed the art at the Seafood Festival again this year. It's always done. I'd like to thank the teachers, make sure they know that people do go out there and take a look at those things. I enjoyed the back-to-school nights. I was able to attend the elementary school and one of the primary school back-to-school nights, where I am looking forward now. I hope I get to make it out to Real Men Read Week, because I'd like to read my own edition of Splat the Cat Sings Flat. That is the book I bought this year and donated to the library at the primary school. So hopefully I'll get to do that. In the Beth Ann tradition up here, I'm going to read a little bit tonight from a very interesting author called, his name is Louis Scheimer. Yeah, I believe he is a teacher, a college teacher up in New York, upstate New York. Valdosta State, if I said that correct. but it's from his blog that he writes called The Random Thoughts of Louis Scheimer. Now, this is from the perspective of a teacher who's finally found theirself and understands why they are teaching. And he writes, "My teaching has taken on the character of a mission. It is a journey that has taken me from seeing only myself to a commitment to something larger than myself and to a vision beyond my self-interest. I now believe that an educator is in the people development business. I understand that unless the most essential element in education is caring about people." So I'll continue to read from that for probably a couple of months, but if you haven't found this guy, he's very interesting to read, and that'd be Louis Scheimer, Schmier, and he will inspire you from one end to the other with his articles.
Thank you, Mr. Melton. I had the honor of being with Lauren Osborne and Dr. Parrish and Dr. Colley and a lot of folks up in Richmond last night. And I want to tell you, Lauren Osborne is just a shining example of what our school system stands for and what our education system in Virginia stands for. So, Lauren, great job. I hope you're watching tonight. And so happy to hear about the tip line for bullying, Drew, at the high school, and I hope it's being well received by all the students there. And also, I'd like to thank our school system. I know there were quite a few new students this year, and I've heard so many positive comments on how welcoming our school system is and how quickly that the new students were integrated into the classroom and able to communicate with all their teachers and administrators. So thank you very much, Dr. Parrish, and all of the staff for making that happen. And do we have any material for board review tonight?
We do not.
Well, let's adjourn.